Okay, so I guess I will be turning Epstein videos into a series on this channel. The idea initially was for me to only make one that kind of like covers everything, but I don't think that's possible. This is not just one of the biggest stories in history. No, this is the biggest story in history, so I think making a series out of it as information comes out is perfectly fine. In fact, I made a playlist. If you go to my channel, go to my playlist, I have one called Jeffrey Epstein Files, which basically just has every single Jeffrey Epstein video I've ever made in one playlist. Go check it out if you'd like. But today, we're going to be covering Donald Trump's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, and my god, the dishonesty from Trump is outstanding. Now, we knew that the dishonesty was always there, because, I mean, we had the fact that, I mean, Trump said many things over the years, but off the top of my memory, we have the one when he was doing the campaign trail and he was asked about the Epstein files. Trump said, like, oh, I think Bill Clinton has got some trouble coming his way with the famous island. Meanwhile, Trump, you're just as guilty as Bill Clinton. Like, you're just as guilty, which is the reason why. Again, if you go to my Jeffrey Epstein Files playlist, I have a video. It's like 40 minutes long. It's called Trump's Bizarre Defense of Epstein. I broke down everything in that video amazingly. Check it out. When last year, not last year, sorry, a few months ago, uh, Trump was very much against, releasing the Epstein files, despite saying he was going to do it, and then saying that there are no Epstein files, and saying, oh wait, there are Epstein files, but it's a hoax, and now here they are, and then saying, oh, it's really boring stuff to make people not want to look at them, and actually it's not boring shit, it's actually very important, and there's a lot of it, and just everything, right? I mean, it's not a surprise at all. We all knew this. We all knew this was going to happen. But what we didn't know was the extent of how it was going to happen. Now, again, I always like to point out and teach people to not be surprised by this shit. Even in the previous video, I said, don't be surprised. You should not be asking, well, I don't understand. Why aren't these powerful elites going to jail? Again, because they're powerful elites. That is the reason. I hate when people ask obvious fucking questions. You all know the answer. Powerful elites don't go to jail because they're powerful elites. It's not any easier or any more complicated than that. That's the reason, okay? Accept it and stop asking why powerful elites aren't going to jail. That's the fucking reason, okay? Before we start, though, I need to point out that I am very thankful to the internet. You know, there is very few things that make our very divisive modern world come together. But if there's one thing that does make us come together, it's hatred. And I'm not one of the people who... I am one of the people who will cover it, but I'm not one of the people who can do much work. I do apologize. I have a busy life, because of work and everything. I'm not a popular YouTuber. I just don't have the time to go through as many files as I would love to. I did spend a total of about 4 hours looking at Epstein files, but that's nothing in the grand scheme of how much there actually is. There are people... And I will say a big thank you to all the warriors out there. There are people on Twitter who have literally spent the last 6 days, probably like 11, 12 hours a day, just going through file after file after file after file. There are YouTubers working together, like 4 or 5 YouTubers working together, taking, a certain list of documents and going through them and everything. There are also people across Twitter, across Instagram, across TikTok, who even found ways to unredact the files. Yeah, I'm fucking serious. People actually found that the DOJ and all of these politicians are so fucking stupid that they actually they actually redacted them in childish fucking ways because they don't understand how to use a computer. Some of the files were redacted by merely putting a black font over top of the writing. And I am dead fucking serious. So people found that you could literally highlight the redacted parts, copy and paste it into Microsoft Word, and it would just show. That is fucking wild. But again, don't be surprised. I need to explain to people again. There is a reason why, like, our world is so fucked up. You know, people shouldn't be asking questions like, oh, why is it that these people who are so dumb are in charge of us? Again, that is the reason that they're in charge of us. Because they're stupid, okay? Most politicians, as we know, most politicians are evil pedophiles, right? And studies were even done proving that most politicians are actually clinical psychopaths. They are, or sociopaths. This is a proven fact that most of them literally are clinical sociopaths, and that's how they become politicians. Politics, like, again, this is what children believe, so adults shouldn't believe this, but I'll explain it anyway. Politicians are not actually meant to serve and protect you. They're not. They're meant for evil. They're meant to extract money from you. They're meant to screw you over. There's a reason why the government never helps their people but wants to help people overseas. There's a reason why they all serve a country called Israel. There's a reason why, despite what politicians do, the world just keeps getting worse and more corrupt. You know, politicians are not smart. They're actually dumb as fuck. They are old, geriatric fucking losers who are literally only kept in office until they're like 80 years old because they're pure evil and they have no soul left. And they are all very, very, very stupid. Like, I mean, I don't mean like, oh, evil. I mean, like, they're actually like dumb, stupid people. They're fucking idiots. But anyway, I've talked enough. Let's get on to Trump. And we're going to start here with this post that shows that I don't even know what to say. One of the pictures, well, actually there's more, but this is what people found. One of the pictures in the files was removed, and part of me feels like this is a meme because it's in between 6'7" and 6'9". But anyway, apparently picture 468 was taken out of the files, and the picture in question is this one here, and it's the full picture right here. Now, I gotta say, the picture isn't even that bad. Like, it's actually not. But what I will say is, even though the picture's not that bad, so it actually would have been better if Trump didn't remove it. The fact that Trump removed it, despite not even being that bad of a picture, shows that he feels guilty about something. Or because he wants to hide it, right? So, check out this one. A really disturbing video tied to the Epstein Files is going around, allegedly showing Harvard professor Steven Pinker with Jeffrey Epstein. In the video, you can hear what sounds like a very young girl asking, "Where are you taking us?" Pinker has crossed paths with plenty of politicians and world leaders over the years, including Justin Trudeau. Despite all this, Steven Pinker is still employed at Harvard. I'm not going to play the video, but yes, if you watch this quick 10-second video, the girl does say, "Where are you taking us?" And you got look at Jeffrey Epstein's face. The girl says, "Where are you taking us?" And Epstein, I know it's in low quality, but Epstein's looking at her like, that is, oh, it's so gross. It's so gross. So here's more people who actually believe that the government's going to be honest, and I'm just going to explain it real quick. I know it's not related to Trump, but I still want to explain it. So this is what most of the Epstein Files look like, as we already know. And this guy says, they said they'd only redact part of the Epstein Files in order to protect the identities of the victims. I mean, what kind of infantile brain do you have to believe that? Obviously, they're not just redacting things to protect victims. Like, the level of naivete to think that is fucking insane. Obviously, most redactions are going to be to protect the elites, not the victims. That's obvious. I shouldn't even have to explain why that is. And, yeah, it's called lying. The government lies, little Timmy. 90% of the documents are fully redacted. This means either, 1, DOJ considers the Epstein clients to be the victims. Yes, because again, basic psychology. When you are a clinical sociopath or psychopath, you do view yourself as the victim. And yes, when you are a rapist child molester, you're going to be viewing yourself as a victim who doesn't want to get caught, which is why they're being protected, little Timmy. 2, the poor girls they abused have the longest names in human history. Okay, at least we have a joke there. We already know Bill Clinton is in like the majority of them. Yeah, this girl was probably like 16. Got Epstein kissing some kid's head. And, gross piece of shit. Look right over here. That's the leg of like a 4-year-old. Right back into what I said a few minutes ago. The FBI defied the law and refused to release the full Epstein files. Yes, government officials and politicians break the law, little Timmy. They're allowed to do that. They're still holding files on JFK, MLK, and RFK. They botched Seth Rick and the J6 pipe bomber. But they're totally believable about Tyler Robinson. Trust me, bro. Well, duh. Come on. Finally, someone who is as smart as me. You really thought the ones named in the Epstein files would release the Epstein files? Exactly. Thank you. Look at how they actually redacted things related to Trump. If you try to highlight just Trump, nothing comes up. But if you do it Trump with a space, to see his name appear more than 600 times, that is fucking wild. This is how incompetent they are. Okay, now we're getting into the really bad stuff. Brace yourself. Blank asked Blank about his time driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Worth area. During Blank time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. Blank noted that he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the DFW airport. Blank reported some of the things President Trump had spoken about during the ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. Blank reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median, and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying, as caller chose not to. Blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone, and made references to abusing some girl. Blank was unsure who he was talking to nor who he was referencing. As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, immediately Blank demeanor went stone cold. As Blank stated, he raped me. Blank said, "What?" As Blank replied, Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. Blank noted some girl with a funny name took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened. Blank advised Blank to call the police regarding the incident, as Blank stated, "I can't, they will kill me." On Christmas Day, Blank contacted Blank, stated she had in fact called the police about what they had talked about. Blank told Blank she had done good. Blank did not hear from Blank or Blank until January 10th, 2000. Blank reached out to Blank, stating Blank was dead, and noted she was found with her head blown off in Kiefer, Oklahoma. Officers on the scene and Blank stated there was no way it was a suicide. Coroner stated it was a suicide. Blank later stated Blank committed suicide because Blank had gotten cocaine from a Mexican drug cartel. Blank feels the murder is a cover for Ghislaine Maxwell. A girl raped by Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump had her head blown off just days after trying to go to the police. They tried to claim it was a suicide, and the police didn't believe it actually was. Remember when Donald Trump told this lie? This is what the Democrats do to their Republican opponent, who is leading them by a lot in the polls. This is AI. In other words, it's not. And it is very dangerous for our country. Also, I was never on Epstein's plane. Well, that's a lie. Or at his stupid island. Why did you put stupid in quotes? So you don't think the island's stupid? Strong laws ought to be developed against AI. It will be a big and very dangerous problem in the future. Remember how Donald Trump had stated, and many people around him had stated, that Trump spent very little time around Epstein, and there was even something claimed like, at one point Donald Trump saw Jeffrey Epstein sniffing around some kids, and then kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and never spoke to him again. Remember that? People have been saying that for many, many years. People also claimed that while he did meet Epstein, it was only once or twice at a party in Florida, and he had never actually been to the island. Apparently, even the flight logs that we had known about back in 2019 didn't even show it. But I guess it's because those documents hadn't been shown. Here's the reality. Turns out Trump had lied. Donald Trump traveled in Epstein's private jet many more times than previously had been reported, including during the period we would expect to charge in the Maxwell case. Didn't want any of this to be a surprise down the road. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously had been reported, or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in the Maxwell case. In particular, he is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 93 and 96, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. He is listed as having traveled with, among others, and at various times, Marla Maples, his daughter Tiffany, and his son Eric. On one flight in 93, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then 20-year-old blank. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. We've just finished reviewing the full records, more than 100 pages of very small script, and didn't want any of this to be a surprise down the road. This is from January 8th, 2020. Moving on, let's check out this video.
I was just able to recover some of the redactions to Trump's Epstein Files, and you won't believe what I just found. The Trump DOJ screwed up some of the redactions so bad that you can recover them. And I did so simply by copying and pasting the text. When I did, this is what was there. This is 100% proof that Trump tried to cover up the existence of other participants in Epstein's crimes. It says right here that they paid large sums of money to participant witnesses in order to keep them quiet, as well as their attorney's fees. This means that Trump tried to hide the fact that there's other participants and other attorneys who know about it, as well as those who helped Epstein release damaging stories and destroy evidence. This is the biggest cover-up in American history.
Moving right along, check out this video.
Charming. He is able to convince people, so he tells everybody what they want to hear.
So how do you know this?
That was supposed to show you.
He has a sense of humor. He can be funny.
He's right. His ability to sell. It's very much like Clinton. Both Bill and Donald have the ability to go over to a fat, ugly woman, say, you are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
So you probably know he had a scalp reduction. Because he had the same male pattern model that we all have.
He's not even a horrible human being. He does nasty things to his best friends' wives. Anyone who first tries to gain your trust and then uses it to do bad things. That's how it goes.
So there you go. The whole thing about, oh, I only met Epstein twice and I kicked him out when I didn't like what he was doing at my hotel. Yeah, apparently they were very close friends. At least according to Epstein, they were. So here's one of the worst ones. Brace yourself. A newly released Epstein document includes a letter that Jeffrey wrote to fellow sex offender Larry Nassar, alleging that Donald Trump shares their love of young, nubile girls. This is very difficult to read. But all we know, it says here, Dear Larry, as you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good. I don't know why short route's in quotes. Probably means something. Probably means going to a young girl's house on his way home. Good luck. We shared one thing. Our love and caring for young ladies. Fucking hell. And the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls. Now, this one was not meant to be released, at least not without the redaction. So it was an accident. And because of that, the DOJ had to explain it away. Check this out. The FBI has confirmed that this alleged letter from Epstein to Nassar is fake. Okay. Before I even continue fucking reading, do you actually believe that they're not lying? obviously the DOJ is lying to protect Trump. But this is fucking crazy. Like, this file is not made up by, like, trolls online. It's not AI. It was actually in the Epstein Files. That's where people found it. And you're gonna claim it's fake? Considering what we know, not just about... I'm not even talking about just Epstein-related stuff, or Trump. This is politics in general. We all know that everything related to politics and politicians is a fucking lie. And you want us to buy this shit? No, that letter is fucking real. The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. Oh, shut the fuck up. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death out of the Northern Virginia, wherein he was jailed in New York. Now, this I can't debunk. I don't know if the date actually is written as 3 days after Epstein died. Of course, if it was after he died, then it couldn't be Epstein because he was fucking dead. But regardless, though, I still think the letter is real. There must be some kind of, explanation that maybe someone else wrote it for him, and they were just quoting him, or maybe the date is wrong, something. The return address does not list the jail where Epstein was held, and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail. I don't believe your excuse. I'm sorry. This fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document is released by the DOJ does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. Well, I guess you could just repeat this now for every single file in the documents, huh? God damn it. Nevertheless, the DOJ will continue to release all material required by law. No. I think this letter is real. I'm sorry. I think the letter is real. Unless I see a debunking that's not done by the DOJ, I'm believing that letter is real. But what do you guys think about it? Let's continue on. Check out this one. This is a letter by Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark. It says here, Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in his jail cell. I have reason to believe he was killed because he was about to name names. Well, we all thought that. I made a video in 2019 about Jeffrey Epstein's supposed suicide. And in this video, I thought, my theory, and I still kind of believe it, was that, number one, he didn't kill himself, obviously, but also about who killed him. In the video, I had said that I think he was killed by Hillary and Bill Clinton. I said this because Bill Clinton appears in the documents more than anybody, including Trump himself. But apparently Epstein's brother thinks that Trump was the one who got him killed. I believe President Trump authorized his murder. What was the exact crime that occurred? Murder. When did the crime incident occur? Please provide approximate date and time. August 9th, 2019. Where did it occur? FCC Manhattan. So, Epstein's brother thinks it was Trump, but a lot of people, including myself, think it was Bill and Hillary Clinton, and the reason is just because Bill appears in the files more than literally everybody, so there's that. Okay, everyone, are we all doing okay? Are we all okay? Let's take a small break to show you how some of these absolute heroes were able to unredact the files. Check this out.
Oh, look at this pesky redaction. Let's just get rid of that.
That is insane.
This is what happens when you fire government.
As stated, God, the government is fucking dumb as shit. That is just hilarious. Okay, break over, let's continue. Remember how earlier I had mentioned that Trump had lied about kicking Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago because he was uncomfortable with him? Well, apparently, Trump held a party for prostitutes at Mar-a-Lago. Now, that's honestly okay for the most part. I mean, unless, of course, because it doesn't specify the ages of the prostitutes, but usually when you think of a prostitute, you think of an adult woman, right? But when it comes to Epstein, I wouldn't be surprised if these prostitutes were also kids, or of any age. But it does say it was back inside, and someone told the party that Donald Trump had invited them all to a party at Mar-a-Lago. Blank told Villeneuve she wanted to go, but Villeneuve told Blank it wasn't that kind of party. It was for prostitutes. This released FBI intake form from Data Set 8 of the Epstein Files mentions that an Epstein party basically being moved to Mar-a-Lago at Donald Trump's invitation. So, clearly, It was a lie about Trump saying, oh, I didn't actually like Jeffrey Epstein because I saw him doing things with a girl or whatever, because you literally took the party and invited them back to your hotel. So, very obvious lie. Moving right along, apparently there are also tapes. Check out this. Blank knew that criminal activity which happened in multiple states, on airplanes, etc. Blank claimed they were films of men who were recorded. These men are prominent figures such as Epstein, Bill Clinton, and President Trump. Maxwell is also on the tapes. This was from we got August 20th, 2020. So here's a really bad one. It's small, so I'll read it to you. Can anyone verify the veracity of this document because page 3 is something so jaw-dropping it's gotta be fake? Well, apparently it's in the Epstein Files on page 3. There's a link to it right here on the justice.gov site. So I'm going to say it's real. Let's read it. This is it says here, last name Trump, so we know this is about Trump. Additional info. Again, just trying to find out the NYPD detective on the FBI sex trafficking task force that called me a couple of weeks ago and spoke to me about some of these issues. How is contact known? He participated regularly in paying money to force me to blank with him. Sexual act, obviously. And he was present when my uncle murdered my newborn child and disposed of the body in Lake Michigan. So, just in case you haven't seen it, the DOJ did remove as many photos of Trump from the files as possible. So, this hero right here took all of the pictures of Trump that were taken out of the files and put them into a nice collage for us all. Got Trump and Epstein, Trump and Epstein, Trump and Epstein, Trump and some ladies, Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell, Trump here, Trump there, Trump here. Luckily, these are all adults, except for these two. Although, aren't those his kids? I don't know why, because again, these pictures are mostly adults, so why take him out of the files? Like, if these are just pictures of Trump with adults, then why take him out? It obviously means that there's more to it than that. And we're going to stop there, because I've had enough. So, as we can see, of course we all knew, don't be surprised, we all knew that this thing is filled with politicians. And like everything I said in the beginning of the video, it doesn't need to be reiterated. I'm not surprised that Trump is in there. It's kind of obvious. And yeah, I got nothing else to say. Anyway, fuck Donald Trump. Bye.